do today.
The whole new acronym thing
Drives me effing bananas.
Can we call him by his name?
Felger and Mazz on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Ain't nobody pointing to Jason Tatum. He was sitting.
Right.
He was sitting. He was in street clothes. You the only one. The only star in the history of the Boston Celtics that ever lost a 3-1 lead and surrendered it, and that's your favorite year. Why? Because you and your teammates developed better chemistry and camaraderie? You understand what I'm saying? Because you overcame adversity?
See, this is where I got to pause again. See, this is a narrative that he's creating. This is in journalism. This is him making his own opinion and formalizing it about what I had to say on his platform. And this is why, respectfully, a lot of people say, F Stephen A. Because this is the type of stuff he does, and then he doesn't recognize it.
Really unbelievable. So Stephen A., he gives his opinion. Yeah, that's his job. That's what he does. Yeah, that's what he does. And respectfully, F. Stephen A. I thought the whole point was to be a disrespect. But I would say to Jaylen Brown, dude, let it go. Let it go. So it is, and if it's not Stephen A., it's going to be someone else. And by the way, he wasn't the only one criticizing you for what happened in Game 7 and for your comments after that. So, you can cite him if you want, but there were a ton of other people that basically shared the same opinion. I think including all of us sitting here right now.
Yeah.
Not that we're on the same level as Stephen A. I get it. He's a national show. But holy smokes, what are you doing? You're making it worse.
Sure is. Yeah. Insufferable, exhausting. He is the foremost authority in everything. I got annoyed in watching these clips because it's like, why don't you now tell us, Jaylen, how to be a real journalist? Because you seem to know all about this, too. And what it came off as to me is you just don't like to be criticized, and I'm sure that many pro athletes don't, but that comes with the job, that comes with the territory. So what? It should only be the pro athletes that get to talk about this and do this kind of thing? That's what it sounded like to me. I just, halfway through, I was like, oh, my God, enough. Enough. I don't want to watch this anymore. He's just a good dude. Stay off the internet, like you've said, Mike. Go away. Go prepare for the next offseason. Go travel. Go do something. Stop doing this because you look terrible doing it.
Give me the second cut there, Jimmy, if you could, please.
He may not understand that concept, and that's why he's pushing his narrative. But once again, this is what Stephen A. is using his platform for. Let's see what he finishes with.
What happens? What's the remedy? Given all these things you're pointing out, I'm with you. But that's why I brought up the whole trade thing again. What are you going to do about it?
I don't mind. But what I'm saying is the first order of business is that he needs to be quiet and big.
Let me stop right there. Did he just say I needed to be quiet? Be quiet for who? Man, Stephen A. Stephen A, Stephen B, Stephen C. My offer still stands. You want me to be quiet and stop streaming? Well, I want you to be quiet and get off these networks. Because you're not using your platform to do real journalism. You're using your platform to use clickbait.
Okay,
that was the line. I'm like, oh, jeez, enough.
I did like the Stephen A, B, and C, though. that was, and D, all the above.
So he's getting hung up on a little bit of a semantic thing. I don't think Stephen A, nor anyone, even you, Murray, who just kind of said this, you need to stop talking. I don't think anyone is really saying stop talking. It's just sort of a word choice. We want him to talk. We want the content to then react to. And
yes.
So I felt the same way about this.
So we would never, I'm not telling anyone to stop talking. No, please keep talking and tell me how you feel. That's what I want you to do as a talk show host. Absolutely. I think what you're trying to say is you're not doing yourself any favors.
Right.
And that's what Stephen A's point is. He says, if you want to get people off your back, then stop saying what you're saying. You can't come out of a year where you go one and done as the guy and then sit there and say how much fun you had, how much you liked it, and be looked at as any way other than a loser. Those are loser comments. To lose in that fashion as you did, and then to celebrate the year that you had and how much you liked it, there's no other way to read that other than your priorities are out of whack. So if you want people to stop hitting you on that, then you should stop saying those things. I don't think Stephen A. nor Morey is saying, shut up and dribble. No, talk, speak your truth.
I'd prefer athletes to speak, but right now is probably the wrong time to be doing it in this way. So to put it another way, If you were a Celtics fan or a Boston fan and you wanted to dump on Jason Tatum right now for not posting in Game 7 of that series with the Sixers, I'm not going to get in your way. It was probably kind of soft. He probably could have played. But why is no one doing that? Because Jason Tatum's gone away. And anything he's posted online have been wholesome photos of him golfing with his son. He's not popping onto Twitch and bitching about stuff like this guy has for the last 2 weeks. People aren't on Jason Tatum because he's gone away. He'll say what he has to say at times, or just post something like 365 days since my injury last year, praying emoji. Like, that's it. Hey, go. Have a good off season. Right now, the timing of all this and some of the stuff he's saying is just like, dude, you're like ruining your reputation here or how people look at you. I don't think I'm wrong in saying that. Again, speak all you want, but you're not doing yourself any service right now with what you're yammering on about.
Yeah, the stop talking was stop fueling the fire what it was.
If you want people off your back.
Right. It's not about talking. It's about what you're saying. So that's what it is. It's not the actual physical act of verbalizing it. And then the other thing is, I'll stop when you stop. Well, wait a minute. Like, that is a complete lack of understanding of what his job is. And you want to tell me that's lousy journalism in this day and age? Look, I would tell you that real journalism went out a long time ago. It's a little different now. There's very little of it. The whole world is a different place. But Stephen A. is offering his 2 cents on it. He's got a background in reporting and all that. Like, he's not just pulling it out of his ass. Again, he's not the only one.
So
he's doing himself no favors right now. Zero.
It's just odd that Brown is really ramped up his volume this offseason. It's really what am I trying to say?
He's almost becoming unhinged.
Yeah, a little bit. What's the word I'm looking for? He's just
that is
rhetoric.
Stephen A, Stephen B, Stephen C, directly to your face.
When the U.S. and Russia are
escalating,
he's escalating the temperature and the dialogue and the volume and he's just why the escalation this year?
Good question. Good question. I mean, it's got to relate to some sort of off season or.
I mean, he is coming off his best year.
Yeah,
where he did. Like reestablish. I say reestablish. He established another level for himself on how he's viewed in the league and what he is in the league. So he went to new heights, and legitimately so. And in some respects, it was his best year. Why the escalation? Why is he doing this?
Good question. I don't know. I mean, but I don't think again. I think whatever he's trying to do, the opposite effect is happening. This thing. When I heard this, I went, "What's this guy doing? What are you doing?" And I'd be willing to bet somebody from the team or somebody from the team reached out to someone in his camp. But like, hey, can we stop this? Like, what? Why are you inciting people? Why are you doing this? It ended a couple of weeks ago. The season's over. You took heat for it then, and you're breathing life into it every time you open your mouth. What are you doing?
Okay, so there's that. I promised your phones. We'll get back to it now and everything we've hit on today. Jose in Easton, though, on Jaylen Brown. Go ahead, Jose.
Yeah, Mazz, I don't think unhinged is the correct word. I think cringe is probably more like it. I mean, the timing of you saying it was your favorite season when you just was the lead dog and getting eliminated 24 hours earlier was just terrible. And I also think, really this is a product of the softness of today's era where NBA athletes, there's so many NBA athletes with microphones in their faces, or just athletes in general with microphones in their faces. Everybody has a podcast. It's an oversaturated market. And then you have like things happening in Houston with Kevin Durant and the Twitter, burner phone stuff. It's just social media and the athlete today, I feel, is the real issue. But I'm curious, what do you guys think, Stephen A. is talking about when he's talking about getting down to real report like that threat? Like, what does he have? Is he just blowing smoke up his tailpipe?
No, I don't know what Jaylen's real journalism. He's just Stephen A's an opinion maker who's giving his opinion. That is
correct. That's his job.
That is a form of journalism and what he's been paid to do. So I just don't know what Jaylen Brown. I don't know what Jaylen Brown's doing.
He's just putting together a word salad. What he's really saying and what he means is, I don't like what you're saying about me. That's it.
But I just don't know why he's so over the top antagonistic. And this year of all years, when he did have a good year, and if you just sort of let it go, people would properly credit it for what that it was. And I guess he just maybe just can't admit that he struck the wrong tone, talking about this being his favorite year or his best year. He's just stubborn like that. So he just can't take a real look at that. Instead, he's just going to, you hit me, I'm going to hit back even harder, that kind of thing. I don't know. I don't know what he's doing.
Or might deep down, he's really not happy about the way it ended.
Okay, so is he trying to shoot his way out? Is he trying to, what's he doing? Is that
the talk has been since it ended, if they're going to make a move, he would probably be the man out if they were going to bring in someone like Giannis, right? So here he is again. His name is being bandied about in trade talks where it was, I just had my MVP season. I played when the other guy didn't. Shouldn't I be talked about as the real star here, guys? And he's not. And he's once again being talked about as trade bait. And I think this is where he's really pissed off of what he deep down is what's bothering him.
Maybe.
Something like that.
I guess. I think he did the live stream, said it was his favorite year, got all sorts of pushback, and he can't handle it, is maybe my guess.
Yeah, something.
Simple as that.
Yeah.
People are telling him he was wrong. And some people just can't handle that they were wrong. Like if you, for example, thought goalies were important. Brian in Florida. Go ahead, Brian.
Felger, you're 100% correct. Listen, I'm going to give you a little bio. I'm never afraid to admit you're right. I've been listening to you since tribute for Florida, since ESPN, whatever days.
Attaboy.
You are 100% correct about the Brewers. I blame my old man. I'm 43 years old for 39 out of 40 miserable years of being a fan of this franchise. Goalies, I went out of your point. It's not just goalies, but it's mostly goalies. They're all the same size. They all wear the same equipment. They all the same helmet. They're all exactly the same. You're completely 100% correct.
There you go. See, was that so hard, Brian? Thank you for the call. If Martin Brodeur and guys like this were putting teams on their back, and the New Jersey was a good team, but who was the other French guy that won in Anaheim?
Jean Jaguar.
Okay, if there were guys like that who were just taking mediocre teams and posting these ridiculous numbers and carrying teams to Stanley Cups, I'd say it for what it was. That's what was winning. It's not what's happening at all, even close. Just about all of the highest paid goalies are nowhere to be found. 12 of the top 20 highest paid goalies didn't even make the playoffs. Only one or two made it to the second round.
Didn't Jaguar win the Conn Smythe and they lost the Stanley Cup?
Was that the year they lost it?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, so there's a time, but there was definitely a time where the goaltending was sort of the determining factor. It's not. If that changes, my commentary will change. Why can't yours? Why can't you just acknowledge what's sort of obvious here? That the teams and the goalies that are the highest paid guys are not coming through. And it's like the platoon guys or the fringe guys or some old guys. They're just sort of catching lightning in a bottle. And it's really not even about the goaltending. It's really not about the goaltending anymore. The better teams are winning, period.
You know what I don't understand is how many of these people, when you put up this fight, in the same breath would tell you, well, don't take a goalie early in the draft. It's not worth it.
It's all the same principle.
It is. It is the same principle. The point is you don't see goalies typically go at the top of the draft. They come later. So because, I don't know, when was the last time a goalie went number one? You don't see it anymore because everybody knows it. And yet teams still do it.
No, you're right.
And fans still believe it.
Goalies are lowly drafted.
Unbelievable. Really. It's like, why do you think they're lowly drafted? Because you can find one anywhere.
Tom and Quincy, go.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Hey, it's funny, Mike. After just another typical horrific series over the weekend by the Red Sox, I talked to Mazz and Holly and Jim the other day about all these just historic numbers that they've come up with, just this horrendous offense, and that they can't score and they can't do this and that, right? So all I kept hearing all day yesterday, which was the most predictable first inning in the history of sports, was Bayo and then his reaction afterwards. But so after yesterday, they're 0-19. But when they're down by 3 runs at any point in a game, they have no ability to come back from 3 runs, right? So here's the problem. As a fan who has fought against analytics and stats since as long as I can remember, when you know going into the game that Bayo's ERA is almost 10 in the first inning, But when you don't pitch him in the first, you put him in the second, his ERA is at like 1.5. The geniuses in that front office said, hey, you know what? I think all he needed was a couple starts off. We'll put him back in, and he'll get right back to being the suck pitcher that Tom and Quincy always knew he was. So they put him back in. He gives up that 450-foot bomb to Riley. I went, well, this one's over. So for teams that preach how good they are with the analytics and the stats, they suck at numbers.
They suck at baseball. But it's true. It was an odd decision after they had used the opener for Bayo in 2 consecutive starts. It worked as far as Bayo was concerned. Those openers gave up runs, but when Bayo came in, he was settled down and gave him good outings. So they did that twice, and then yesterday they say, now we'll put him back in. No, now we'll give him the ball to start the game. And he completely melted
I know,
down.
it makes no sense. Now, look, they claim it's because of bullpen usage, but Tolley went 8 innings for them on Saturday night.
All you need is one guy to go 1 inning.
Well, and not only that, but Tolley saved just about the whole bullpen on Saturday.
I don't believe him. I think they said to themselves, okay, we have sufficiently straightened him out.
Yeah.
And we're going to throw the kid back into the pool.
Yes. Yeah, I agree. Their argument, I'm just saying what their argument was. Makes no sense. The whole thing makes no sense. What they said, he got out there and he crapped his pants again.
But it just shows you that Brian Bayo may be the most gutless Red Sox. There's a lot of candidates. Gutless. He's got to have his hand held. He's got to have his mommy drop him off at school. Brian Bayo, as Tom just mentioned, in 7 traditional starts this year, meaning he gets the ball to start the first inning, a 9.68 ERA in those starts. That's not just the first inning. That's in those starts. In 7 starts, 9.68 ERA. In the 2 appearances behind an opener, a 1.35 ERA. So he needs his mom to not just drop him off at school, but walk him to class like he used to be able to before they locked all the schools. You'd walk the kid literally to the kindergarten class and then let him go. And then he's fine. Otherwise, forget about it. Literally bring a change of pants to school for the kid because he craps them. Gutless. Maybe the most gutless Red Sox on the team.
He's got to go back down to the minors.
Coming up next, speaking of an extra pair of pants, it'll be what's crawled up Mazz's backside, brought to you by North Shore Adult Diapers. You'll have to stay tuned for the contents of those diapers right after this.
Now, more of Felger and Mazz. Now, on the Sports Hub.
The tests are over in school. Thank God. But the tests in life, they never end. You will be tested every day. And those tests are the prep for the life that you want to live. My story can become your story, but yours will be unique, written by you. Remember this, testing your greatness always comes in the form of a contest, where preparation meets opportunity, and the winner is the one who just won't quit. Thank you so much. Congratulations.
Or what's crawling up Mazz's backside, as my copy says. And it's brought to you by North Shore Adult Diapers. In all seriousness, people shouldn't be afraid to get the help that they need. And for many store brands, don't get the job done. So switch to the MVP of adult diapers, North Shore. For even the heaviest control problems, visit NorthShore.com today and focus on life, not leaks. Tom Brady addressing the Georgetown Business School in his commencement address yesterday. That was the conclusion of his something like 20 to 25-minute speech, of which I listened to the entire thing. It was a long discussion on the Patriots' comeback over the Atlanta Falcons in the Super Bowl, down 28-3, and the life lessons therein contained. Why does this crawl up your backside, Mazz?
I don't know. I'd like you to help me try to kind of figure it out. So you said it was the business school?
Yes, sir.
So what did he teach them? How to sell a $50 bag of nuts and run a fitness company or, operation into the ground?
It's more about not quitting.
Oh, not succeeding, but just not quitting.
Right.
Although he did shut down his businesses, so wouldn't that be quitting?
Well,
Why does it bug me so much? Because again,
you hate Brady.
Okay, so I brought this up with maybe that's what it is. Might be that simple. Might be that simple. A friend of mine sent me photos today of Brady on a catwalk for.
Oh yeah, dressed all in leather.
Oh yeah, that looked good too, didn't it?
Yeah, I didn't like that.
What's wrong with this guy? What happened to him when he all of a sudden stopped playing football? Maybe even towards the end of his career. Okay, so I don't want to take that part out. He just bugs the crap out of me now. Every time I see him, whether it's on a catwalk or wearing a robe at a graduation commencement, I look at him and say, why should I care what you're saying at commencement? And I understand Tom Brady's enormously successful, an overachiever. I get all that, so I get the link. I'm not telling you I don't get the link. But, dude, Georgetown? Like, Georgetown, to me, I look at Georgetown and I say, we're talking nation's capital, like, historic, highly regarded institution.
And again, I think this was just the business school.
Yeah, because they use different speakers. But for example, look, I'm not telling you politicians are the most upstanding people in America either. But I think John Kerry spoke at one of the schools as a commencement speaker during graduation as well for Georgetown. That I get. And again, it's someone who has just on a much bigger sphere or genre than sports. Something about Brady sitting there and telling people not to quit comes off to me as so freaking pedestrian, it's not even funny.
And famous people do these things all the time. Matthew McConaughey's given one. Denzel Washington. I think Taylor Swift has. Eric Church, the musician. I'm not a fan of his music. I watched his. Like, that one's been going viral last couple. It's really awesome, his commencement speech. The only thing I find odd with Brady is, well, do it at your alma mater. I get it. This is a payday for some of these people, but to do it at Georgetown, that was the only thing I found. Like, well, that seems weird. Just do it at Michigan.
My guess is they're all paydays.
Oh, for sure.
The one I saw on Saturday at Tulane in New Orleans was Sterling K. Brown. Know who this is?
Why do I know that name?
He's an actor.
Okay. He's
an actor. He did a great job, but he has no real tie to Tulane. He's just, again, he was an excellent speaker. And I guess he's on the circuit. So there's no real rhyme or reason why you have that guy.
This guy, yeah.
Yeah, and he was terrific. My favorite part of his speech, it was real world stuff. It was like a minute where he says, drink lots of water.
Stay hydrated.
So yeah, he said, like, listen, I'm going to start some actual real good advice that you can actually use. Drink lots of water.
So that's good advice.
Exercise 30 minutes a day. Try and get 150 minutes a week. You want to try and get take your ass to bed, is what he said. You want to get 8 hours of sleep a day. I struggle with 6.5. He spent like a minute just doing that, like all the things that you would really want to do. It was kind of relatable and I don't know, relatable. And
Brady relatable?
I just bring that up because there is something about Brady that is not relatable.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is. I'm telling you, every time I look at him now, I want to like vomit.
I don't know what it is. I don't know why exactly it is, but it's kind of unrelatable. It's not, he doesn't connect on a certain level.
He's too plastic.
Well, so thank you, Mark. I was just about to say, he doesn't come off as real to me. It doesn't come off as real. I don't, there's not a lot of humility there or something that he's unwilling to share that makes him more human. The stuff you're talking about is human stuff, right? That is like, hey, you want some good advice? Get your sleep, drink your water, get your exercise. Don't be an a-hole.
Eat lots of protein.
Yeah.
it's all this sort of simple stuff. Where Brady is like, I don't know. And his delivery is, I can't blame Brady for his delivery. He's not a professional speaker. It's hard to stand up there for 20 to 25 minutes straight. So I don't expect Brady to have this great delivery. But he doesn't. This was actually the best part, I thought, of Brady's speech. Number one, if you could, please.
Our team had worked too hard. We'd come too far. I said to myself, and excuse me for saying this, I'm taking you inside my helmet at a very vulnerable time in my life and one of the biggest moments of my life, and that inner self-talk that people talk about that should be positive. You know what I said? I said to myself, don't be a little bitch. Go out there and fight your ass off. Whether you win or lose, fight to the end. At that moment, we had no idea what the outcome of the game would be, but the one thing I've learned through sports is the only time you're sure to lose is when you quit.
So that was actually, I thought, his best moment.
Yeah, not bad.
Of the whole thing. It was good delivery, but the rest of his delivery is sort of
wooden,
forced or canned or wooden or.
And you say he's not a professional speaker. I get it in terms of being at a dais in front of 1,000 kids or whatever. But he is a professional speaker. He's now a professional broadcaster. He should be better at this. It's just so wooden, his delivery. But even when he does the roasts, I'm like, ugh, it's all kind of cringy.
But his persona is unrelatable. He's just too perfect. The jawline is too perfect. Everything was just too perfect.
It's fake.
And I don't know if it's fake or what, but, even some of the biggest superstars, they just, like Peyton Manning, talks a little bit more like a common person would talk, with a little bit of an accent from where he's from. He's got a little bit of a belly. His ball didn't come out perfectly out of his hand. It wobbled. I'm just sort of like, and he can sort of joke, and the way he speaks is just a little more relatable. Like, where Brady, it just doesn't, and it just hasn't really ever. And I think that's part of his problem.
He to me anyway, Mike. And look, I competitively off the charts. His football makeup and character off the charts. Okay, but when you look at him, I feel like, or listen to him, I feel like he's hollow. Okay, but I don't feel like there's any real conviction in anything he says.
Just give me one more, Jimmy, number 2, if you could, please.
Sometimes in life, you have to put the numbers aside and ignore the odds. You have to make the tough choice. You have to try your best and to fight your hardest to win.
So stop.
Because the only
it's just too cliche.
Yeah, it's self-helpish, like that.
Like simple self-help cliche, kind of fight to the end. Like, we get don't quit and fight to the end. Like, we get all that sort of stuff. How about some sort of special or some insight into how you really felt at, that's why that other clip where he said to himself, "Don't be a little bitch," that lands a little bit better. Because that's kind of what you would tell yourself. And that was, I thought, the highlight of the speech. But there's just like 80% of it was this. Was just sort of like standard don't give up, don't quit kind of stuff. Like, I don't know. Well, just keep going, Jimmy, because he takes a shot at Bill here.
Sometimes in life, you have to put the numbers aside and ignore the odds. You have to make the tough choice. You have to try your best and to fight your hardest to win. Because the only thing worse than losing the biggest game of your life is losing respect for yourself along the way. I wish you nothing but the best of luck and the most courageous of choices on your journey. And I challenge you as graduates of this amazing institution to seek out more things that are just too hard. Things that will force you to grow beyond what you thought was possible for yourself, physically, mentally, or emotionally. I want you to challenge yourself with ideas that are uncomfortable and people who push you to be your very best. Even if one of those people is a cranky old coach who cuts the sleeves off his sweatshirt and screams at you all day, do your job. Okay, that's too specific in my experience. You guys get the point.
So it's sort of kind of a canned, forced joke.
And he
rushed through it, too. He started to get panicky, it felt like.
It's hard. Public speaking is hard.
I just think the best way to relate to people is to try to show them that on some level you're as vulnerable as they are. Like, so, I don't know if he had talked a little bit more about self-doubt, like the moment in that Atlanta game. That's because everybody does it. We all do it. We all sit there and I don't know if this is going to work, but
you make a great point. I didn't even think about it. The Georgetown School of Business, his business
failed.
Yeah. And he gave up. He didn't stick it out. He sold out, and he's with Noble now.
In like a year, I think he sold out.
Well, TB12 done, and then like the Brady brand of clothing or whatever done. He's not selling avocado ice cream anymore. He's selling potato chips.
Yep.
So, like, can you equate just playing a 60-minute football game to grinding out a failed business?
Yeah. Brady to me is do whatever you can to make as much money as possible. And I'm not telling you there's anything wrong with that. Like, if that's what drives him, that's what drives him. But he'll sell you a $50 bag of nuts, and now he's going to sell you greasy, salty potato chips. He feels to me like he'll jump on whatever bus comes along.
I promise. Your phone calls right after Big Jim Murray gets you updated. I've been late all day. It's my fault. Go. Go back to the phones for the 5 o'clock hour, Mazz, unless you have a fresh thought for us.
God, no.
Felger and Mazz, 98.5 Sports Hub.
So that was
Jimmy's beat mixing back there.
What the hell's going on back there? A little acid flashback.
The system jammed up, so it played two tunes at the same time, and that's what it sounded like.
Okay.
All right.
Well, on that note, let's do a lightning round, shall we, Jimmy? We do that too.
The lightning round.
The lightning round, brought to you by Blue Sky Restoration Contractors.
Again, it is brought to you by Blue Sky Restoration Contractors. When the unthinkable happens, fire, flood, storm, or structural damage, you want to call our friends at Blue Sky. They're always ready to respond 24/7, and they take care of everything from beginning to end. So visit gobluesky.com. There's no E, BLUSKY, gobluesky.com. Back to your phones. Longest order of rate. Scott in Canton, lead us off in the lightning round. Go ahead.
Why did the Pittsburgh Steelers re-sign Aaron Rodgers, and why didn't Aaron Rodgers retire last year?
Okay, Scott, two excellent questions. The second one is simple. He signed for what did he sign? Do we know the money? It's going to be at least $10 million, maybe 20, maybe more. I don't know what it is. Aaron Rodgers is playing for the money. There's no other reason.
It's been that way for like 3 years now.
Yep.
More than that.
Ever since he signed that final contract in Green Bay, he has been playing for the money.
$22 million guaranteed.
And
Holy
he's
crap.
Been able to skip a good portion of the offseason, not quite put in the work, just sort of show up and play quarterback for $22 million. He's doing it for the money. He's not doing it because he wants to win or succeed at a high level. He's doing it because he can't make $22 million anywhere else, and that's why he's playing. That's simple. Why, the first question, I don't remember exactly how he...
Why did the Steelers go with him as their quarterback? Because they have no plan and haven't for years.
Because, and I'm so disappointed in Pittsburgh.
Me too.
That they are just... They've always been accused, Murray and others have long accused them of just being happy being in the middle. Well, now they're basically admitting it. Now, by the coaching hire and what they're doing at quarterback tells you they are happy to be the Boston Bruins and a wild card team and one and done, and that's all they want to be. That is a coach and a quarterback with no ceiling. There's no ceiling on Aaron Rodgers. There's no ceiling on Mike McCarthy. Mike McCarthy, I think he sucks, but he doesn't suck.
Right.
You know what I mean?
No, it's just enough to maybe get you to 9 wins and maybe squeak in as a wild card team.
Like, okay, so the Tomlin thing runs its course. They have no quarterback. It is the perfect, I thought for sure they would hire the next Bill Cowher, Mike Tomlin, meaning a guy that I've never heard of. Maybe he's a positional assistant. Maybe he's a linebacker coach. Maybe he's a special teams coach. But, you know, like a guy that's not sort of on the, just like Tomlin himself or Cowher at the time, were guys who were not really considered knocking at the door, high-level coordinators, just guys that the Steelers identified as their kind of guy with their kind of attitude and culture. And we'll start over at quarterback, and we may take our lumps in the early going, but we're going to reset the whole thing for the next 25 years because that's what we do. We hire coaches for 25 years at a time for a program for 25 years at a time.
And instead, their rivals did that. That's what the Ravens did by hiring that Jesse Minter, who's a defensive-minded coach that no one had really heard of all that much. Instead, let's go with the guy that's been around, we kind of know, and that will work well with Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, my God.
It's so uninspired.
They're taking the easy way out. It's like retreads. They drafted a kid in the third round to play quarterback finally. That was the kid at Penn State.
Who they said, Drew Aller, who they said we have to reset completely. He has to unlearn everything he's learned.
So, but I'll tell you what, at least they took a quarterback who wasn't Kenny Pickett.
Lightning Round brought to you by Blue Sky Restoration Contractors. Visit, thank you, gobluesky.com. No E. Stephen and Sandwich on our goaltending conversation. Go ahead, Stephen.
Yes, I believe that a great defense makes the goalie.
Yes.
Even Martin Brodeur had Stevens.
Well, Brodeur was great. I'm not going to diminish Brodeur or what he meant for that team. But, yes, he had Scott Stevens. He had the neutral zone trap. He had the foremost defensive-minded team of his generation in front of him. So it was a great combination. That being said, Martin Brodeur was a special guy and a difference maker. Who are the special difference makers now? The best goalie on the planet, the gold medal winner, Connor Hellebuck, was it one and done or did he even make the playoffs? I can't remember.
Jeez, I forgot if the Jets
I don't think Winnipeg got in. I don't think they got in.
Either way, he has
they missed the playoffs.
Yeah, they didn't get in.
The greatest goalies on the planet are some combination of Vasilevsky, Connor Hellebuck,
Ilya Sorokin,
Swayman, they either didn't make it or were one and done. So what's the? But that's just one example. The better way to do it is the highest paid goalies in the league. They're the highest paid goalies in the league have not made the playoffs or even gotten passed around. So, and that's become a more and more common thing as we go forward. And it's just a fact. It's not even an opinion. So I don't know why you'd fight it. It's just look at who's getting paid what, and look at what their teams do. There's no other conclusion. It's not even, you don't have to opine. There's no opinion necessary there.
Shesterkin, the highest paid 11.5 Rangers, they didn't make it.
Look at the highest paid guys and look at what their teams are doing. And then just give me a cause and effect, draw a conclusion on it. You don't need to make an opinion. It's just scoreboard. It's just a fact of what's happening. It's really not that difficult. Bob and Onset on the lightning round. Bob, why is Jaylen Brown doing what he's doing?
Yeah, I think it's time to move on from Jaylen Brown, because can you guys ever imagine Larry Bird or even a Kevin Garnett saying that I was happy with this year being my favorite year and they got eliminated in the first round? You would never see Kevin Garnett or Larry Bird say something like that. Just want to hear your thoughts.
Yep. It's just a horrible look for him. And if I had to guess, what is he doing and why this backlash, why this escalation of tensions? Why is he doing it? It's that he can't handle being told that that's the wrong thing to say. He can't take it because he's just not as mature as he lets on, or he's not as intellectually grounded. Maybe that's not the right word, or self-aware. Just sometimes you're wrong. Sometimes you just say the wrong thing, and he can't bring himself to admit it. So he's just lashing out.
I'll call it a character flaw, but yes, yeah.
I mean,
someday he'll come to the realization that it's ridiculous to dig in on everything. So, but he's not there yet.
Blue Sky Restoration Contractors. The website is gobluesky.com. No E. Jeff at work on Tom Brady. Well, Jeff.
Hi, guys. Just a quick question. And do you really think this is Brady's real thoughts, or does he have one of his 5,000 assistants writing this for him? And he makes it come across like, don't ever give up, don't ever do this, don't ever do that. And I know he was great and he won a lot, but let's say he didn't. What is he saying then?
Well, it's hard for me to, he did accomplish those things.
Yeah, so look, the fact that he accomplished them, I mean, he doesn't need to hide from that. This is the whole reason he's there. He's a high achiever. I just think instead of making it like a lecture, speak from the heart.
Right, the message there is just so canned and easy.
Everything about him is canned.
Don't give up. The only way you're for sure to lose is if you quit. Fight it out to the end. Make the hard choices. Those are all the right lessons. And I think he does believe in Caller. It's not like, of course he believes those things. But they're also just rote, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like they had to pay him $10 million there or $5 million to tell you don't quit and don't give up. And because he came back 28-3, it shows you can do it. Okay, that's an easy thing to. It all makes sense on a certain level, but does it totally land? I don't know.
Didn't land with me. As soon as I saw it, I said, "You've got to be kidding me." I mean, again, I shouldn't be that surprised by it. I'm not telling you, because I get the appeal of having Tom Brady come and give your commencement speech.
So what lands with me is keeping it real and admitting the role that luck or fate plays in almost anyone's success. I mean, he didn't put in that speech. Again, I listened to the whole thing. He didn't mention that Atlanta could have kicked the field goal instead of dropping back to pass on 2nd and 11 with 3.5 minutes left or whatever that was.
Right.
And just gone up 11 points and pretty much salted the game away. That Brady and Belichick didn't do anything there. That was a choice that
Kyle Shanahan,
Dan Quinn, and Matt Ryan made to drop back and pass when all they had to do was line up, run the clock, and kick a field goal, and the game's probably over. That was luck. The Pats also, tried a lot of desperate stuff that didn't work. They tried an onside kick. They did run a fake punt kind of thing. They got some breaks. They got lucky. He didn't mention that in there.
Did he? So I didn't listen to the thing in its entirety. Did he talk about the year he had to be out because of the injury? Anything like that?
He would sort of toggle back and forth between a situation in the game against Atlanta and then where he started, or he would say, we faced a 4th and whatever at midfield and Danny Amendola, a 7th-round pick himself who had been cut 3 times, so he would constantly sort of go back and sort of give you background on where he was, so he did mention the injury off, I think, at one point.
Because the things that usually hit with me when I've watched these are people that talk about, embrace failure, embrace adversity, that kind of thing.
Yeah, no, he did some of it.
Yeah, but the way he speaks is just so disingenuous.
Somewhere along the line, he started to completely believe his own bullcrap. And so, because your point's a good one. Everybody's had luck. Everybody. And how about Dante Hightower doesn't get back there and make a strip sack? We don't even get the chance. So you just try to keep putting yourself in the best position to capitalize on the opportunity.
He mentioned the strip sack, and again that they affected. So there's things that they didn't do, like in any to have a comeback like that, you're going to have to. The opponent's going to have to give you something, and they gave you a couple things. He didn't mention it. It's. I don't know if that makes it less real or not. I don't know. But there's just something about Brady that's not real. It doesn't connect.
No, he doesn't connect with people.
Ben in Boston.
He's a freaking mannequin.
Ben in Boston on the goalies. Brought to you by Blue Sky Restoration Contractors. The lightning round. Go, Ben.
Yeah, I think the Bruins are just in a completely different spot where they have a bunch of guys that completely crumble in the playoffs, and now you're going to get rid of the one guy that actually shows up. I think you're better off having guys, quote unquote, in the wrong positions that have a set of nuts when it matters, than a bunch of guys that are soft in the right spots and just lose again and again.
Ben, I just wish goaltending, and you've had great goaltending for 30 straight years almost, from Raycroft to Tim Thomas to Tuukka Rask to Ullmark, Swayman, on down the line. You've had really good goaltending for 30 years. I just wish goaltending won you a playoff. The last time goaltending won you a playoff series was the Stanley Cup final in 2011. And I could honestly say, I think that's one of the big differences in that series. Tim Thomas versus Roberto Luongo. I'll give it to you. That was 25 years ago. Since then, when has your advantage in net paid off with a playoff win? Tell me. When's the last time you beat a team better than you on goaltending? The 13 Eastern Conference Final against Pittsburgh, you swept them. I don't know if Pittsburgh was better than you that year, but maybe. I don't know. You swept them. It's just tell me how it's translated for you. How? Because your guy looks better than the other guy? Yeah, Swayman looked better than Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen and Alex Lyon. They wiped their ass with you in 6 games. So what's the point of having that guy if it doesn't net you anything?
Because he's our guy.
These are just facts. They don't pay their goalies anything. Their goalies are middlers. Your goalie's great, and you pay him at the top of the market. And they destroyed you in 6 games.
Does a good goalie lower your floor? Raise your floor?
It gets you in the playoffs, I guess. But tell Winnipeg that. It didn't even do that. And tell you that last year. You had Swayman last year. You didn't even make the playoffs. So we can keep going around and around on this. I'm happy to. You know me. I'll get stuck on this thing for as long as it takes, you people.
I just think raising the floor over there is a big objective for them.
Want to thank again our friends at Blue Sky Restoration Contractors. Visit gobluesky.com for all your restoration needs. Back to the top of the hour on your phone calls here on a Reentry Monday.